Hello, I'm horror cartoonist Dennis St. John. I draw monsters and write twisted tales. As you can imagine, I was a little obsessed with Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Lucky for me, so were most of my high school friends, all except one. One friend who stubbornly refused to join the Scoobies. So here we are, 20-some-odd years later. I'm teaming up with Doc Travis, John Teach Landis, and maybe a special guest or two. And we're going to make our friend, Michael Poley, watch one episode of Buffy a week until he's no longer the Buffy Virgin. Hey, welcome back to another episode of Buffy Virgin. This week we are tackling enemies. We have with us, as always, the Virgin, Michael Poley.
Hello, my name is Michael Poley. I've only seen up to Season 3, Episode 17 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So excited to be here.
We have Doc Travis.
Hey everyone, I feel fantastic. Don't worry about me.
Please ignore his voice. We have John Teach Lando.
Hello everybody. I really do feel fantastic.
And we have with us today, returning fantasy enthusiast Elizabeth.
Hi everybody. I've seen all of Buffy, but up to this one recently.
All right, let's get started. We don't have any new reactions this week because the last episode has not aired. So we're going to jump right into the summary.
The summary. After a steamy movie viewing with Angel, Faith is keeping Buffy warm in one of Sunnydale's many crypts when they're interrupted by a nebbish demon looking to sell the Books of Ascension. Apparently, these are books well-informed Slayers would already know about. They have something to do with the mayor's town renovation plans. While Buffy and the gang are busy ragging on a demon for wanting cash and watching Cordelia hit on a grown man, Faith lets her boss/dad know about the demon's used book business and then goes to the dweeby demon's apartment and just stab robs him. Here's where things get complicated. With bloody hands, Faith goes to Angel for help. She's looking to join a Murderers Anonymous group and needs a sponsor. But also, she's trying to bang Angel. And also, Buffy is watching from a window. Turns out the seduction was part of the mayor's plan to bring back Angelus. So when Faith's level bests aren't up to raising Angelus' spirit, he calls on a blue-faced, demon-shrouded guy thing that can just magic souls away. Angelus, Faith, and the mayor are now on the same team, and they plan on taking Slayer number 1, Buffy, off the board. After knocking out Xander just for fun, Angelus and Faith trap Buffy in the often-used set of mansion chains and cuffs. Looks like it's going to be a long night of bondage and torture fun. But foolish Faith lets slip the date of the mayor's ascension, graduation day. And the game is all over. See, Angelus never really turned. The soul stealing was just an act. Buffy, Giles, Angel, and shrouded demon blue guy were planning this operation from day one. But like Donnie Brasco, Angel went too far undercover. They got the info they needed, but at what cost?
Spoiler on some recommendations, I'm guessing.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on to Great Lines.
Great lines.
I really enjoyed when the mayor said, "There's more than one way to skin a cat," and I happen to know that's factually true.
That was a good one. I like from Willow, Buffy, I too know the love of a taciturn man. And Buffy complaining about Faith. That could be ours. That girl makes Godot look punctual.
This one may be giving away too much about what happens in the episode, but oh man, I love the line from Faith. What can I say? I'm the world's best actor. Angel, second best.
And I love the dramatic turn, the slow-mo turn she gets.
Oh, totally. They totally slow-mo film. It was great.
Oh man, I have the one in the library. Cordy says to Wesley, "I study best in a dimly lit restaurant around 8ish. Think it over." Wesley actually doesn't say anything, but then Xander says, "And on the day the words flimsy excuse were redefined, we stood around and watched."
Good stuff.
That is easily my favorite scene of this entire episode. And it happens right away.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to weird noticings and trivia.
Weird noticings.
John?
Yeah, I wanted to start off with this movie that apparently Angel and Buffy went to see on their like non-sexual but romantic date that they thought would be a fun Euro film. Does anybody know how to actually pronounce French words? Can tell me the title of this film?
Le Banquet d'Amelia.
Thank you very
Ooh.
much. I appreciate that because I was gonna butcher it. Apparently, the movie involves a lot of like food and sex, and I read online that they may be referring to this maybe based on Last Tango in Paris, which I have not seen. Has anybody seen that?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I've seen
That
it.
rates. Yeah,
There's a butter scene, so
butter boobs.
God.
Watch the classic film.
Yeah, I'll have to watch that. Is that in recommendations?
it did not occur to me to know.
It should be, man. That's hilarious.
We can add it.
I love that scene because they are both so horrified by what they saw. It's implied that they saw things that they can't unsee, that they can never do to each other.
Yeah.
And they're like they're so tortured by it.
Can you imagine like the world before the internet when you were shocked by a sexy French film?
It also made me think about in Interview with the Vampire, the vampires like movies because like they can see the sun and stuff. Angel doesn't take that kind of pleasure.
I don't know that he's shocked by that. They're shocked by the movie. They're just like, I mean, Buffy even says like, I guess we're gonna go take a cold shower now. Like, there's shock over the movie, no, but
Just that they're general lust bunnies, as
Lust bunnies,
Faith would call them.
yes.
Angel says he hasn't seen a movie in a long time, so probably the last time he saw a movie, he was evil.
I don't know. He's been good for a long time.
Yeah.
How long, really? I mean, I guess it has been a long time. Yeah.
Like 100 years. Like the
Yeah,
invention.
okay, right.
I
It's been
bet
like-
when he was a hobo in New York, he spent a little time in theaters just trying to stay
You
warm.
went and like sleep in the grindhouse.
Yeah, you'd think he wouldn't be shocked if he was like sleeping in the Grindhouse movies or like the 42nd Street stuff, right?
Yeah.
I just like how
Angel, like American Werewolf in London, he would have been like one of the bums hanging out in the like porn room.
Absolutely.
I just like how they'll, oh yeah, let's demonstrate control by making out in public. It feels like someone who's not in control's idea of control.
That is true. Yeah, I mean, they're clearly together, right?
Is that a prediction?
Sorry. That prediction, that still bothers me. Not to get into another prediction fight this early. So anyway, I say Demon's got to pay the rent, just like the rest of us. But $5,000 is a lot for a plane ticket.
Yeah, where's he flying to?
Well, this is one thing. I wonder, is it for the plane ticket or is that to start a new life? And then
Yeah,
the
that sounds like starting a new life kind of money.
Is $5,000 sufficient to start a new life? So
Good
it's either a really expensive plane ticket or really low cost of living.
This dude does not know how to search for prices. That's his problem.
Or Priceline.com.
Yeah, Priceline.com doesn't exist.
He's also not very good at approaching people, right? Like he basically is going boo or whatever. So, like his negotiation tactics. He needs a little lesson from Trick. Unfortunately, not around to help make this transaction happen. But he just has no salesman skills.
So I don't know if the demon got named in the actual episode, but his name is Skylar, I guess, in the script. He's played by the actor from the Weird Science TV show. I looked him
from
up.
the TV show.
Yeah, I looked him up in the Buffy Monster Guide. Do you guys want to hear how harsh they are on this dude?
Oh,
Yes, please.
Yeah, let me pull this up. A sniveling coward, Skylar dressed like a middle-aged tourist. A sniveling but enterprising demon, black marketer with small horns, pointed ears, and a horrible fashion sense. It's like really mean. I didn't think his fashion sense was that bad.
Does it hit a little too close to home?
I don't know what you're talking about. All right. John, why don't you take the next one?
Yeah, so I just noticed that the mayor is just ready with room temperature milk in his office. Like, like I understand, like in a conference room, you'd have a pitcher of water for conference water or whatever, but he's got a pitcher of milk. And the thing is, the mayor is such a germaphobe, and yet he just leaves milk out. Just saying.
Yeah, that struck me as potentially gross also.
I mean, drinking milk is already gross. Milk is not a beverage. It's an ingredient for cooking.
They're really hitting on these like bad girl or like dad relationship, right? I don't know. The milk felt a little off though.
Yeah, I do love that scene
I
just for the just for the Faith mayor interactions.
Oh, yeah.
Totally.
Still a nicer situation than she had with the Watcher Council.
Yeah, still an upgrade.
Still not that bad.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, yeah, totally. Watcher Council wouldn't spring for milk.
It would not.
No.
Maybe 2%, but definitely not whole milk.
Let's see, what did I say? Oh yeah, I just complained that Buffy's enemies are all so personal. It's like she hasn't had like a random outside of like the three. It's like every enemy Buffy has like knows her intimately. It's like if it's not the Master, it's Angel, or now it's Faith. It's like just so rough to have all your enemies are going to be your personal friend, your former personal friends, or like people that invade your dreams. It's like she would kill for just like a regular enemy that just like smelled bad. You know what I'm saying?
She still got the occasional monster of the week to deal with.
Yeah, but
What about the hot tub demon, right? From Bad Girls,
yeah,
I know her that well.
that wasn't like a good like season, overarching bad guy.
You want less personal in this show.
Well, it's like, at some point, hopefully she has an enemy that isn't her former friend that betrays her for her sake.
Just for her emotional health. Elizabeth, you've already talked about this once, but do you want to go into it a little more?
Oh yeah, that like really public, super awkward, like asking out of Wesley. I just, so Cordelia is clearly a very confident woman who knows that she's just like, all she has to do is say, I want you, and you're now hers. But that was one of like, poor Wesley is just so in over his head in every single situation he gets into, including this one.
This guy can't even answer the question, what are you doing on Friday night? He's like, Watcher.
Even that's overwhelming. That's so ridiculous.
But yeah, I love that scene. I just love how everybody is just speechless that she's gone for it. She's like, oh, you're doing it. Now, have we established how old Wesley is in this episode?
I don't think his age is ever specified, right? Because I
don't think so
age
either.
would be weird, right?
Any age is weird. If you are not in high school and you are asking out someone in high school, that's weird. Don't do it. I think we all know that, but they make it maybe it's supposed to be less weird because she's initiating the contact.
Yeah, she's definitely the aggressor in this situation.
Well, yeah, it wouldn't be appropriate for Wesley to go after her. That would be so many alarm bells.
And it's much less appropriate for her, or it's less inappropriate for her to go after him, I guess. Is that?
Yeah, absolutely. As a TV writer, yeah, that makes sense.
I also think nobody in the gang has any like moral high ground since they're all allowing the Buffy Angel relationship.
Yeah. I feel like everybody's like locked lips at least once.
Yeah, you're right. Good point. Now that both, Willow and Xander have cheated, basically, like they can't call out any of this weird behavior.
What a morally compromised group they are. Everyone but Giles.
Well, he's super morally compromised.
Just because he tried to
Just because he
aid in
Buffy.
killing Buffy.
Yeah.
John, you have info for us about Willow's sweater this week?
Yeah, so this really made me think of the weird sweater that Xander wore the one time, where it was a bag of flour turned backwards design of a sweater. This sweater, if you look at it, the design of the sweater is it's a picture of like a carriage, but the horse is riding the carriage and whipping a person that's pulling the carriage.
It's like a cartouche.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Wow. I need a screenshot. I definitely wasn't paying attention.
There's a screenshot in the notes at the bottom if you want to look at it.
Oh, absolutely.
And it looks like it's on a scale.
Maybe, yeah. I feel like this was like a
Greek design or something.
Yeah, some kind of old woodblock print from who knows where that was somebody turned into a clever sweater design.
Maybe it's like an old political cartoon. It's what it seems like.
Yeah.
I really looked for a shot that showed the whole design, but there isn't one. It's just this one medium shot.
Like
so
the
you don't really ever see
costumers
bottom
on
of the
this show
design.
must be making their own sweaters for some reason, right?
I imagine that they have some kind of a relationship with like a really super hip sweater design firm.
Yeah,
that's not what you call them. Whoever, fashion designer, not a sweater design firm.
No, you know what? Let's keep it there. I like the sweater design firm. If they can create me like Willow knockoffs, I'm all about it.
Well, I do know that Willow's sweater from last episode is part of the Hot Topic Buffy collection, so you could get that one. Her big pink sweater.
Nice.
Is that a real collection?
Yeah, Hot Topic put out like a bunch of Buffy stuff this year or last year.
Whoa.
That's really interesting.
Okay, diving in.
Googling that
Yeah,
right
that could be
now.
part of the Buffy merch segment that we created last episode. So when Faith murders Skylar, poor attacked in book Skylar, and then she comes to Angel. So do you think any part of Faith coming to Angel for help was genuine? Or do you think it's all an act?
Well, I tell you what, like we can get into, the Angelus thing that happens in this episode, like in a little bit more detail in a bit.
Okay.
But I felt like very confused during that scene. And I even wrote down like, what does Faith want? Because I know that she's up to a trick, but she's leading with like her real problems. So I felt like maybe she was, I don't know, she knows what people think her problems are. So I think she's exploiting that to get what she wants.
Yeah.
But she's also saying everything everybody wants her to say. Like that's what the Scooby Gang, that's what they want her to do. And Angel is the right person to go to, as it turns out. That makes the most sense, even because Buffy has kind of already like told her what she thinks.
Yeah.
So it felt genuine, but clearly, I don't know. We know how it turns out.
Yeah. I just feel like there's a lot going on with Faith this episode. Like there's multiple times where she's kind of reaching out to Buffy and Buffy's like pushing her away before the big reveal is revealed. And like how much of that is like Faith acting, or how much is that like Faith still not being sure if she's like totally going to go full betrayal or not, So there's just a lot of internal Faith stuff we don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think she knows, right? She's operating without a plan. She's kind of operating out of emotions.
Yeah, good call. Yeah, I mean, she kind of has the plan set forth by the mayor, but like how much is she going to actually operate on it or not?
Sure, and I think that's one of the reasons that she likes the mayor. I mean, aside from like everything she says about not having a lot of consistency in her life, I think that the mayor offers that, right? Like he offers that a plan, right?
Yeah, and 2 words: miniature golf.
Warm milk.
Not even warm. That's a thing. Room temperature.
This show loves miniature golf.
She's really receptive to this too, right? Like, at first you think that she is going to, be the teenager that is like rolling their eyes at mom, but like then she really latches on, and we know she's never had a support network. She's never had that family. But it feels so creepy because it's still like tinged in with this like, and if you fail me, I'll have to replace you, you know? So yet she still feels like she loves it. She definitely loves the mayor, right?
Yeah. Her reaction to the miniature golf at the end is like so sincere. And like last episode when he's like PlayStation and she's like bouncing towards it, like there's a real like sincerity to their relationship. I think one of the things this episode does really well not just like with the other demons and stuff, is like starts to show like what the internal life of the bad guys are, you know? And it's not all just plotting to kill Buffy. Some of it's like getting married and playing games. The actor who was the like demon in a shroud guy was on an episode of Voyager Enterprise. He's on the He's in the Twin Peaks movie, and he's in RoboCops 2 and 3.
Wait, who is he on Voyager? I don't care about the rest of it. I care about the Star Trek things.
I think it said he was. I don't know actually. On Enterprise, I think he said he was like a member of the Klingon Council.
Oh, interesting.
And like on X-Files, he was somebody called like Tall George or something like that.
Okay.
It's just one of those things I'm starting to realize, like, if there's like a weird looking character actor, he's been on like one or more Star Treks and X-Files. They did the rounds.
Well, to me, he just appeared like Will Ferrell in a ninja outfit. All I could see.
Why is he Will Ferrell?
Just those eyes had like a glazed over.
Feral eyes.
Does Will Ferrell have orange glowing eyes? Did I miss that?
You just get a glazed over look when he's doing a character. Just
okay.
He's like Step Brothers ninja. So the Angelus stuff gets pretty wonky because like there's a point where it's Angel pretending to be Angelus and then pretending to be Angel again, and not doing a great job of being Angel to like further fool Faith. Right? That's a lot of acting for this guy. A lot of layers.
He's the world's best actor. Self-proclaimed.
Oh my gosh. I was totally fooled by the Angelus transformation. I mean, I like when the Shroud actor comes in, the transformation happens. Like they have a special effect thing that goes on. Like I totally thought it had happened, and I screamed in the Slack chat room where we, I was like, oh no, this can't be the rest of this season about Angelus, because that's what I assume has to happen from this point on.
Right, yeah.
It was such a relief when Angel says that stupid line is like, second best. You're the second best actor. I'm the greatest. Like whatever that line is, like that just calms my life down so much. Man, Angel, there's like some great Angel moments in season 3 that make me like Angel, but it's also because I'm anticipating terrible things like season 2 level shit happening in the show. And then he undoes it just before. It's this moment here where he says, second best, and then like when he punches out Faith, whatever, when she's basically raping Xander, man, he just
clubs her.
Clubs her, yeah. And this one, I think he clubs Faith again. Wow, I guess I just like it when Angel hits Faith. Jeez.
I say though, when on a rewatch of that, knowing that he is not Angelus, that he is Angel, his response to Faith, the way that he kicks the shit out of her, is brilliant. I absolutely I laughed out loud with a little bit of glee when he's turned into Angelus, the way that he beats her up.
Damn.
Well, she messes with everybody. You have somebody that's constantly messing with you, messing with everybody that you know, and then uses her strength, her supernatural strength, for to take advantage of people. She always had, again with Xander, how much he loves Xander, but he still isn't gonna let her mess with him. So him beating her up, pretending to be Angelus, was that was true Angel really wanting to get out what he wanted to get out with her.
Yeah, the fighting is also it's a very personal fighting style where it's not the ninja stuff they usually do on the show. It's just big man hitting little girl, right?
Yeah, it is. It's pretty brutal in that scene, right after the transformation, right? And then we think that they might have sex or something, or I thought they were going to have sex.
Yeah, I actually have a question about that later, but I'll ask it now, I guess, because it came up. How do you think Angel got out of having sex? Right? Because that scene ends with them making out, and that's clearly the direction she's going to want to go in. Presuming they didn't have sex, how did evil Angelus talk his way out of that? He's I want to save it for after we killed Buffy. It'll mean so much more then. You know?
I don't think they have sex. I think he just is like, let's get this over with so I can kill Buffy and you.
Sorry, babe. The blood's rushing to my forehead. It can't go two places at once.
If I taste any more
bumpy forehead.
If I taste any more Slayer blood, I'll lose my mind. I feel like Angelus as a character is so distractible. It'd be really easy to like come up with some other idea of what to do next.
Yeah,
He
I was
plays
thinking of how quickly Faith jumps Xander after a fight. Like, she doesn't seem like the type to slow down, right? She's like, once you start making out, it's going to the end game real quick, right?
I'm sure he just punched her a few more times, and then they moved on.
Then in that case, I'm glad we cut. I don't want to I said Cordelia is part of the gang again. I kind of wish we saw the scene where she sees Human Willow again after last week. Like, I just want to know what's going on there.
It's funny to me that Cordelia can just sort of walk in and out of the Scooby Gang basically whenever she wants, because like she's in on the secret, and so they're like, I guess they're willing to have the help, but she doesn't have to be there. Like, they don't expect her, but she can show up if she wants.
Yeah, and then act really upset about like being bored to death by research.
Yeah.
Well, she's there for one reason.
Right.
She's clearly there for Wesley.
She likes a man with two last names.
So I'm curious, when Cordelia comes in and is like, I'm studying English, and like, you're English. Is she playing dumb on purpose just to impress Wesley? Does she think that being dumb is going to impress him? Because she's not that dumb.
We know she's
like
smart.
we know she gets good SAT scores. She's reading giant tomes of Freud and Jung, right, for a high school level class, which is totally unnecessary. So we know she's bright. Is she being ditzy because she thinks that's what Wesley likes?
I think her saying like, you're English, I'm in English is like, she doesn't expect Wesley to buy that, right?
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
She's like, this is a code. I'm speaking in code for you.
Because I
makes
have
more
to
sense.
ask you out in front of all of these people.
Because you never leave the library, you friggin' weirdo. You don't even work here.
No excuse to be there.
She's just enabling a date to happen, right? Like, it's just like laying it on super thick as far as like what would setting up an ask, right? Like, she's asked him out how many times now? Like 3-4 times with these like heavy lines.
Wait, have we established why he has to work out of the library? Like,
No, they never
No?
really
Okay.
do. It's definitely a complaint I've had during this rewatch.
I think it makes sense, because if you're Wesley, right, you show up, there's basically already a watcher there, and you know that if you try to say nope, try to kick Giles out and say no more Giles, I'm in charge now, that Buffy would just like tell you to fuck off, right? And so what he has to do is he has to kind of like judo it. He has to use the like whatever they're already doing to his advantage. So he just sort of shows up and says, I'm in charge of everything that's already happening without me.
Well, and I think after 2 weeks ago when he like tried to arrest Faith and shit went wrong, he knows he's the junior watcher now. He's
Right.
like, is very clearly like, I'm not actually in charge, but please let me be in on these meetings.
Right.
Yeah, but he plays. No, I don't think so. He has a serious like superiority complex where he thinks that he is in charge. I think he is delusional. I think he believes that. Well, he even says like he's allowing Giles to work with him.
But he backs off of that real quick. Like, Giles gives him a look and he's done.
Yes, but he still like insists on like he's the leader and he's the like he has this like he's constantly saying just how important he is to this group. I mean, do you think it's just like just him trying to think of himself as more, or is it like a coping mechanism?
I would guess coping mechanism. Maybe he thinks at some point he can regain control.
I mean, it's just got to be a nightmare scenario to like starting a new job.
It's like new job scenario. Like this is his first time being a watcher. He's trying to be what he thinks a watcher should be, right?
We've all had this boss.
Yeah.
We've all had the ineffectual manager who shows up and is like, I guess you're taking a break now. Great, just like I told you to.
The Watchers Council is the most poorly run organization in the history of anything. Like, I'm sure we all have to talk a lot about the Watchers Council, but man,
Preach it.
that's not how. Like, oh yes, let's put our least experienced Watcher with the only 2 Slayers.
Yeah, in this scenario that's never happened before, the like 2 Slayers running at once. Like, I say, I wish I'd figured out a kinkiness rating system for each episode, because this episode would be off the charts.
Dennis gives it 5 out of 5 fuzzy handcuffs.
Yeah. The cuffs. What's the 5? What's the 5th cuff for?
You don't want to know.
So let's move on to questions for the group.
Questions for the group.
This brings us back to what Elizabeth was just saying. Like, why can't the council pay the $5K or reimburse Xander $28? God fucking damn it, Watchers Council.
They have Watchers Council retreats, but they can't like give Faith an apartment.
It doesn't even occur to them. Yeah.
Well, and Giles doesn't have an office, right? They're operating out of a school that Giles supposedly works at, and then they use his work office as their occult meeting office. Yeah, like the Watchers Council is such a mess, but they must not be a revenue-focused organization, right? Like they're clearly very poor, and they're also like they have no experience. They have no experienced people to send out in the field, right? Except for these field testers who seem more experienced. But then they have the police force also. It's just like the real police, right? They have all this money for the military, but nothing when it comes to education. It's just this.
Yeah. I feel like the Watchers Council is well financed. They're just not spending their money well. But
they're spending it all on long spoons. It's all about the extensible spoon. Those are really expensive.
It's a very misogynist organization. But this is actually here is my thought. The Watchers Council, maybe the Slayer, because there's only one, maybe that's like the least of what they do. Maybe they like this is only one facet of what the Watchers Council does. We just have no idea what else the Watchers Council does. Maybe it's like embroiled in some other affair elsewhere. Maybe it runs a law firm out of LA. Like, I don't know. Like maybe it's like I almost feel like you have to believe that this is that the Slayer is like the side gig for what the Watcher Council actually does.
That's like they're as public a front as this can be, right?
I don't know.
Which is a weird public front because it's all secret.
I don't know. I mean, I think maybe that the Watchers Council, I don't think they do have other stuff going on. I was kind of thinking that earlier on in this particular watch through, but I think now that the more I watch it, the more I think they don't have a lot else going on. But what's really going on is they're just sort of like a part-time fraternity in the background, watching, keeping an eye out in case one of them gets a little too uppity, and then they can bring the hammer down.
Oh, that's an intense read. Well, I don't think we'll figure out what the Watchers Council are up to this week. It remains a mystery.
Yeah, I do think that's a good read.
There's too much wild speculation to have at this point. It's like they're ineffectual and apparently not poorly funded, just mismanaged.
All right, Mike, you got the next question.
Oh, yes. This was riffing off that earlier idea about, you have $5,000 to start your life over. Where do you go? And I thought it was interesting because it felt like a small amount of money to start a new life, away from Sunnydale. But I was just curious where people would go with their $5,000 to start a new life. I'm sure John has actually done this with less money. So that's what I thought it would be really funny.
Absolutely accurate. Yes.
I had a question about when Faith busts into his door, he's carrying his fish bowl, and I was like, is he packing his fish or is he flushing fish?
He might be eating it. He's a demon. Might be a snack.
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. Seems like an odd way to keep your snack. Yeah, I guess if you only have $5,000, like hitchhiking is like the best way out, right?
Yeah, traveler's checks are great. I would just go to Dayton, Ohio. Low cost of living.
You can buy a house for $5,000 in Dayton, Ohio.
Oh god.
Actually, a friend of mine is a real estate agent in Dayton, Ohio, and there was a house listed for $3,000.
What?
I mean, it was basically a shack that was already falling over, but still.
You could buy a house for less than 2 months rent?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's the land too, right? Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
not just this. That's like a plot of land, pretty much.
Different economy. Allison Janney was just saying that great people come from Dayton. So there.
Yeah,
I
I've
know.
heard Dayton described as like it's where hipsters are born and then spread out to the rest of the world.
Who said that? That's hilarious.
There's a cartoonist, Brandon Elston, who's a friend of mine who's also from Dayton. I think it was said in reference to him and I.
That's funny.
But
And you said, I'm not from Dayton. From New Orleans.
why would I be that angry? Jesus. Let's see. I already did that one. Mike, you have another question here.
Oh yeah. Does anyone know of anyone that has a sexless, kissing only relationship with someone that they? I guess this Buffy and Angel's relationship to me is like this very Christian pre-marriage relationship, and I know these kind of relationships exist, but
Yeah.
it's just like
It's very Mormon.
that first scene. I was like, this has got to be what that's like. I want you so bad, especially after all those terrible things that I saw.
Angel might as well be wearing his magical Mormon underwear right now.
How do you know he's not?
Well, because he's always got his shirt off. It's easy to tell.
I feel like, yeah, Mormons would definitely love that opening scene. They would identify with that.
Yeah.
That lust. I remember a friend of mine who's Jack Mormon describing his first experiences with a woman, and they're not kissing experiences. They're just like being around women, and like just you would do the weirdest things to try and get female attention, but you also like can't take it anywhere unless you're married, and just like he said, he was like literally lost his mind when a woman touched his elbow. Just his excitement. I think he was like in his early 20s. And I was like, I can't imagine what.
Yeah, I had a
Horrifying.
good friend who was Mormon who was in a very similar situation. Like, he tricked me multiple times into going into Mormon singles events. Motherfucker kept tricking me, like, because he'd be like, I'm going to this like cheese festival. I'm like, I love cheese. I'll go to the cheese festival. And then there was like another one that was like that. He kept like just telling me things without bringing up that there's single Mormon events. I was like, God. But he was also like a big movie nerd and stuff when we were friends for other reasons. But just every now and then I got tricked.
Dennis, I have to know what a Mormon singles-only cheese tasting is like. Please tell me more.
I want to know so bad.
Well, okay. This is a friend of mine. I maybe shouldn't name his name, but he got crowned at that event the Cheese King.
So you went with the right person, it sounds like.
Cheese King! That's amazing!
Like, a lot of them are just dances, There are a lot of them are like barn. Like, another one I got fooled for. He's like, I'm going to a barn dance, and I was like, new to Vermont, and I was like, wow, Vermont has barn dances. Like, what a fun! And it, was in like a high school gym that they had rented out, and I was like, God.
Are there rules for like how close you can stand when you're dancing? Like,
Yeah.
What is dancing like at a Mormon singles event?
You must do-si-do 12 inches apart.
Yeah, there's a lot of, in Catholic terms, it would be keeping room for the Holy Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of that. But it was also, once I realized where the situation I was in, I was like, I don't want to be there. But then the Mormon single ladies would also be like, you haven't had a dance. I'll dance with you.
Is that how they talk?
Yes, that's how they all talk.
Does anybody else watch South Korean dramas? They're all very like, even the kissing is like more nose rubbing and like just getting very close. There's like no sex in South Korean dramas, and it's all very chaste. And so that's really what it felt like to me watching that.
I haven't ever watched any of the K-dramas, but people talk about them a lot.
I have a few I could recommend to you.
There's a good K-comedy on Netflix. It's like based on like a cartoonist in South Korea's life. forget what it's called. Something with the heart in it. But it's really funny. I think it's more of a parody of these South Korean dramas. So I don't quite get what the parody is, but I still think it's funny. John, you got the next couple here.
I wanted to survey the group and see how it felt for you to see Xander punched in the face, because we do a fair amount of Xander bashing on this podcast. And was there any satisfaction gained from seeing Xander punched in the face?
He called it a good bruise, but I'd call it a fun cushion.
I felt like it was not satisfying because it was at a rare moment when Xander wasn't doing anything wrong, and I would love to see Xander punched by anybody but Angel.
I just thought it was a good gag. The whole I mean, the setup was good. The walking different directions, not changing your pace in any way, and then I just hate that guy. Is that Angelus or Angel talking?
Well, a lot of things that he says could be either one.
Exactly, and he doesn't even say, "I hate that guy." He's like, "That guy's so annoying."
Yeah.
or something.
That guy just bugs me.
Yes. There you go. And I get it. It goes back to when he's beating up Faith. He's got this opportunity. I think he has to. I think he has to shut him down to keep up appearances.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's a little bit of want in there.
Yeah.
That's some hubris for himself.
You're totally right about Angel in acting as Angelus gets to express a lot of things Angel doesn't get to.
The whole you sent me to hell and we never really dealt with that thing with Buffy is oh shit, it's coming out, and then they still don't deal with it after after it's revealed.
I also when Faith is everyone said should I be like you, but did anyone tell me you should, did anyone say Buffy should be more like Faith? And Angelus is just I know I didn't. Just an unnecessary zing on Faith. You can tell that even disrupts Faith's monologue. She's what the fuck, man?
Faith did enough of her own advocating for Buffy to be like Faith. It was constant you should be more like me, Buff.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you let loose? Why don't you have sex with Xander? Why don't you steal hunting knives? Constantly.
Faith did it enough for everybody, I guess. All right, and then you have another question. Is vamp face a voluntary action?
Oh, yeah, because I just noticed that when he's trying to fake being Angelus, he just snaps into vamp face. He's able to snap right back out. And sometimes it seems like vamp face, it happens when somebody gets hit, or if, oh no, I'm smelling blood. And then sometimes it seems like you're just able to do it whenever you want. That's all.
Whenever the writers call for it, vamp face can appear. It has to be totally controlled. Otherwise, the Angelus impression is a lot harder to pull off.
Yeah, I think it's a muscle you can voluntarily flex, but is also an instinct.
Okay.
There's been a bunch of times, especially earlier on, when the very first time we find out Angel is a vampire, he's making out with Buffy, and he can't control his vamp face because too much blood rushes to his forehead, I guess.
My theory was that it's like an erection or like crying, in that it's mostly involuntary, but if you think about the right things, you can make it happen.
I actually was thinking that the natural, the resting face is vamp face. That's his natural state. Because I remember back when, we had, the Master had, all of his people hanging out. Everybody, when you see just vampires being vampires, they all have vamp face. So I think that he has to work to maintain human face.
Oh, I like that theory.
That's a good call, yeah. I mean, and that goes with the metaphor of, the human face is the facade and the demon is real. That means just every time he's not vamp face, he's holding it in. He's flexing a human muscle.
He's trying to be human.
Yeah, that's heavy.
Well, it's I imagine it's how you learn sphincter control becomes involuntary after a while, but it does require a muscle.
All right.
Yeah, I think that's real gross. I'm sorry. I'm only comparing it to
John bringing up the sphincter.
Well, we don't all work with children, so we don't have.
So I asked the technical question of when did the double cross plan happen? Because I don't know. I've watched this episode a few times, and I don't know when Giles, Buffy, and Angel would have gotten together to discuss it. Because Buffy talks to Willow and is I'm hurt and I haven't talked to Angel and stuff. And then the next scene, is like
In the
betrayal
library.
scene, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it never gets discussed because that would have tipped me off as a viewer that what's going on. It is a total bullshit, like double cross that they just do at the end. Because like as a viewer, like I had no idea Angelus, like there's no tell to the viewer that Angelus is an angel in disguise, and there's no tell that like because the way that Buffy handles that, right? She sees and Elizabeth might talk about this more, but she sees the maybe make out or hug happen between Faith and Angel, and then she gets pissed about it. She's like angry, and then goes to talk to Willow. So like,
Yeah.
that's not a tell that she thinks that they know what's going on with that.
I think it happens after she talks to Willow. I think that's like she says, "Oh, she's like, I give you permission to go." Okay, and then she gets up and she goes. I just think we don't see it.
Yeah. Well, it made sense to me that like Giles, like if Shrouded Guy knows Giles, he would have come to Giles and been like, the mayor
Right.
making me do this plan. And be like, this is my one favor. And then I guess after the group meeting, Giles could have told Buffy that. But after the group meeting is when Buffy goes and talks to Willow. And if Buffy had known about the plan then why would she have that conversation with Willow?
You're right. It doesn't make a ton of sense.
Anyway.
Yeah. I can't figure it out either. All right. I think I have the next bit.
Elizabeth has... Oh, no, sorry. Yeah, you're right. Sorry
Yeah.
about that.
So I think, didn't the mayor say that he wanted them to kill Buffy, but not too quick because he doesn't want another Slayer in town? But then in my mind, I'm like, but it's Faith who would die, and then another Slayer would come. Nothing happens if Buffy dies because she's already died once, and then that was Kendra, and then Kendra was Faith, right? Am I thinking this?
Yeah, I think you're right, but I don't know if we've ever...
We never tried it out again.
If you keep killing Buffy and bringing her back, do more Slayers pop up?
How many times can you punch that ticket?
I mean, I feel like, Travis, your interpretation is right, because otherwise you would just want to make there was no way that there wouldn't be a million Slayers, because then you could you could easily set up a system.
Just do the OA system.
Yeah. Exactly, like the OA, exactly.
We know that we can bring Buffy back.
And why wouldn't you want to populate a world with Slayers? Unless you're the Watchers Council who
certainly
wants
wouldn't.
to check. That's right.
Elizabeth, you have the next question.
Oh yeah. So I was asking, is the Scooby Gang racist against any non-humans? And because, like, you know, at the beginning we see, you know, just hammering about like, you killed a person, and Faith really doesn't care about killing Skylar, like, at all. We care more about killing humans and about killing potentially innocent. I guess, I don't know, have they killed any innocent demons yet? But
you know, I mean,
that's kind of what happens this episode, right?
I would argue that Faith maybe does feel something about killing Skylar, because like she does not look happy when she goes back to the crime scene. Although she's also just a terrible actress about like, you know, she knows where the light is. She's like forgets to act like she hasn't been there before.
Well, I think maybe Faith does feel like uncomfortable. But what about the Scooby? I don't count her as part of the Scooby Gang, though.
Yeah, well, not after this episode. Well, I think one of the things the show has done is it started out in a very black and white world, and it's through these last 3 seasons grade the world up. Like, because Buffy is like, he doesn't fit into the like threat to humanity category, and Giles is friends with Blue Shroud Guy. I think we're slowly realizing not all demons are evil and not all humans are good, right? But yeah, I'd say probably most of the Scooby Gang is still racist against non-humans.
But slowly but surely getting a more open heart.
Yeah. Travis, you got the next question.
What do you think the secret magic in the drawer that Giles doesn't want Willow to look in says? Because she's like, oh, it's in that book in your drawer.
How to summon the 4th element.
Oh my god.
That there's a secret 5th element.
It's Bruce Willis.
I was reading this really random manga rather today, and they spoke very concretely about the four elements being really obvious and the fifth element. And they were like, oh yeah, fire, earth, air, water, and void, the fifth element. And I thought that was funny.
Void. Lack of element is element.
Yes,
I remember once in, I think like 6th grade or something, we were learning about molecules, and my teacher asked me if like water was a molecule or an element. I was like, oh, it's an element. And she was like, this is why I hate Captain Planet. It's ruined a generation.
Does it make Willow, does having access to all the Watcher Council books make Willow a stronger witch? Or is it too soon to discuss that?
She seems pretty strong.
She's doing the pencil spins.
She doesn't do any magic this episode, right?
I don't think so.
Took a week off.
she did some hacking, right? Tries to hack into the mayor's computers.
Yeah.
Fails.
Elizabeth, you got the next one.
Yeah, so this is again just a greater, like higher level question maybe that should be asked earlier, but why are they in the same town? 7 billion people in this world, and everybody's in Sunnydale, California. And I get it, hellmouth, big problem, but is it the only mouth to hell?
This is what I was trying to say before.
Are there other orifices that we should be concerned with? Like
The hell ass.
the
It's on the
hell
other
mouth
side of
to-
the world.
I just like you would think like again, this is the Watcher Council being really dumb, like and the worst run business ever, in that like you've got your two pawns and you keep them in one small place where one was really doing pretty fine on her own. Like Buffy's got Sunnydale.
Yeah.
Go somewhere else.
I think about that sometimes, like in this episode when Wes is like, this is a 2-Slayer job. Like, it's like just retrieving information. And you're like, what? Why?
What would you do if not for this really strange accident?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I was trying to say in The Wish about how like it's silly to think it's really tragic if Buffy doesn't live in Sunnydale, because there's a whole other world out there that probably needs her.
I think just right now the show is focused on Sunnydale. Like, the world is Sunnydale. Maybe, in a year or two, Angel might move to LA and we'll find out LA has problems also. But I don't know anything about it.
There's a very
Big
good
problem.
chance of that.
Maybe there's no demons in LA and he just is like solving human crimes. I don't know.
No, of course we know that, right? Because when, just in the earlier part of this season where Buffy was in, not in Sunnydale, and like there was that weird guy that's like putting junkies into the this weird dimension where they have to do work forever, unknown work. Anyway,
Yep.
you're
good
right.
call.
Yeah, there's stuff going on everywhere. This is just a particularly bad spot-ish.
Yeah, I bet there are other hell orifices. There's hell ears and
there's just hell pimples that like
yeah,
not much happens, but it's
hell
gross.
pores.
Little explosions of demon activity here and there.
Oh no,
People were
hell
like,
moles.
Should
hell
we
warts.
pop the hell pimple or just let it fester?
Sometimes they go away on their own,
Yeah.
Oh no.
Elizabeth, you have the final question.
Yeah, what do you owe the person who introduces you to your spouse?
I can think of 2 people who could answer that question better than the rest of us.
I don't remember who introduced us.
Well, we got introduced at a birthday party for Mike, a mutual friend, ish.
Have we talked to him pretty much since then?
No, we actually never talked to that person again, probably.
Wow. You don't owe. Apparently, you owe that guy a lot then.
Well, later you're going to find out that somebody is going to try to somebody's going to try to hire you to like really mess with this guy's life. And you're going to have to like go into him and be like, listen, I owe you. I can't go mess with your life like I was hired to do. I'll give you one favor, which is me not screwing everything up and helping you not be horrible.
I mean, do you think this wizard guy is like, if me and my spouse ever break up, I'm going to come back and steal Angel's soul?
Maybe.
Is Angel's soul conditioned on this relationship lasting?
it was a very formal interaction. Like it was
And then
it felt very quid pro quo, right? Like as if it's like, it's not that I procured you a wife, right? Like I did this thing for you. It's just like, oh hey, like I'm sure when Mike introduced us, it wasn't even with the thought like, and these people are still going to be together 14 years later. Like it's just, you don't think about it. So for them to imply that Giles did this massive favor, I get it. You like your spouse.
I don't know. We don't know what the situation is. Maybe Giles met like this like creepy blue shadowy lady and was like, I know just the guy for you. He's this spooky dude who I summon sometimes because I'm the Ripper and I do it to get high.
These were Ripper days, you think?
Yeah, I don't know. We don't know anything about this weird situation.
Deep stuff.
See, I've kind of already mentioned this, but like one of the things I really like about this episode, and we just kind of talked about it with the marriage stuff, is like the larger view of monsters in the Buffyverse and how they lead portions of normal lives. So I don't have anything else to add to that. And Travis, you have?
Oh, I was just wondering, just, what, obviously Faith is going to be really a bad person, but can you imagine if she was just a little bit less bad? It sounds like she's going to be the big bad almost with the mayor, but I was just trying to think of of an alternate storyline for her where she's kind of like a bad, kind of a lot more reckless than Buffy, but not like a terrible person that she kind of is turning out to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think if a lot of things had not gone the way they went, she could have stayed.
Like if she wasn't kidnapped.
If she wasn't kidnapped, if the Watchers Council if any responsible adult had helped her, like not just the Watchers Council, but like just Giles as a person or Joyce even been like, you're a homeless teen, like you need a place to stay. Yeah, I think a lot of things could have been done differently with Faith.
Yeah.
I mean, this is definitely a commentary on how important social services are for just like lowering crime rates in certain areas. When people are desperate, they do desperate things. And like, sure, Faith was surviving, but you go from surviving, being tasked with this huge like responsibility, to all of a sudden somebody like coddling you and cosseting you and loving you and giving you everything you could want plus affection. Like, I don't blame her whatsoever for going really bad. And it's 100% the Watcher Council's fault. They could have prevented this with like, even it didn't have to be a kick-ass apartment like she got from the mayor. It could have just been like a place to stay. You know, it's so like indicative of just how important that basic foundation is for whether or not you are a good member of society.
Yeah, and I also kind of feel like the Scoobies are maybe a little to blame, like not fully, but like we never saw them really, like outside of when Faith first comes to town, we never see them really try to socialize with her. They like treat her as other and don't invite her miniature golfing. They don't do the social stuff with her, and Buffy only does the social stuff with her while she's being bad. Like, isn't like on a regular hang night gonna be like, Xander and Willow and I are gonna party and we should invite Faith also, right? They don't do it. So it's tough to, be excluded from your only social circle. Well,
she started life as a Slayer the way most Slayers start, which is complete isolation. So she's already used to that isolation and then comes in, and then the Scooby Gang doesn't immediately embrace her. So, but I also don't think she would allow herself to be embraced.
Yeah.
I think she's been the cool girl I can do everything on my own, loner, for long enough.
Tough stuff. And then it looks like you have the final theme.
I think Buffy is really terrible in this episode. I think, and it's mainly dealing with the way she and Angel are interacting. I think she's horrible to him, and it's super frustrating to see that. It starts with her being super passive aggressive when she sees him with Faith, and instead of saying like, "Hey guys, what's going on? Like, what's happening here?" and allowing him to explain, she lets it fester and she gets upset. And then at the very end, after it is established that he pretends to be Angelus, whether he enjoyed it or not, still beat up on people that are supposedly his allies, like still had to, like, probably doesn't like kissing Faith and had to kiss Faith, then Buffy turns it around on him and says, like, I need a break from us. Like, he's the one that had to do all the bad things, and yet she's playing the victim.
If you're an immortal dating a teenager, you're going to have to expect a little bit of emotional immaturity.
That's very accurate.
No, I mean, I think you're right on
good
with
assessment.
that. Like, I totally agree with what you're saying, Elizabeth. Like, I'm a little surprised at how the way Buffy acted at the end of this episode, where she wants a break, and it doesn't feel fair, all things considered.
It wasn't clear they were dating. It was amazing that they're taking a break.
John, they've been dating for a while.
It just was never announced, and it happened very gradually. It seemed to me.
Let's move on to predictions.
Virgin predictions.
So, Mike, we left you at a 68.2 or 0.3 rather, 68.3. And let's deal with old predictions. So, first off, we have season 2, episode 17. Mike's predicts that Buffy will never get back together with Angel except in her dreams. So, I think it's clear at this point that they did get back together.
Only to immediately break up.
Yeah, they did break up, but I think this one's
they're just on a break. I don't know if that's even breaking up. We're getting into Friends territory here.
Yeah, confirmed or denied, but Mike did predict that we will learn what happened to Angel in Hell in season 3. So we still don't know exactly what happened to him, but we know that he didn't enjoy it. I mean, it's hell. This one, I feel like, so Giles and Wesley have this little exchange where Wesley's like, "Oh, I'm really in charge." Just kidding, right? So in season 3, episode 12, Mike predicted that Giles will continue to train Buffy in season 3. So I feel like this kind of confirms that. What do you guys think?
Yes.
Travis gives a thumbs up. Elizabeth says yes. Dennis, what do you say?
Well, I was thinking about whether we were talking about training.
Yeah,
Watching.
it doesn't specifically say training, but
Multifaceted thing, though.
Yeah, I'll give it because he is very much still her watcher.
exactly. Yeah. Okay, we'll go ahead and confirm that for Mike. And finally, this one also kind of debatable. Mike predicted 2 episodes ago that Faith is going to commit a more serious crime than murder. So killing the demon is probably not a more serious crime than murder, at least in the strange moral universe of Buffy, where
A friend murder happened.
Yeah. But also, like, she gets the books for the mayor, which is definitely putting, like, the entire, like, something in danger. Like, it seems like it could lead to something worse than murder, because a lot of people we're not sure what ascension means exactly, but it seems bad. Do you think that Faith has committed a crime more serious than murder in this episode?
She kidnapped Buffy,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
I don't know if that's more
within
serious.
within the moral relativity of, like, everything being about Buffy, betraying Buffy is worse than murder, right?
I don't know. Travis, what do you say? Do you think she's committed a crime more serious than murder?
Yeah, I'd say so, because she's formally joined the mayor's cause.
Okay.
Worse
All
than
right,
murder.
that's
Joining the mayor. Joining the enemy is worse.
2 confirmations and a denial. But let's see. So that puts you at a 68.2. So about the same. Hooray! New predictions, Mike.
Okay, well, we know that the mayor is going to ascend, and I'm trying to break this down because I think ascending for him will be a good. I need to make this very succinct, so I might need a second here. Let me go on to that one a second. So first prediction: Faith is going to leave Sunnydale at the end of season 3. I know in part she's got to be an angel at some point. They got to work together, and she's got plenty of excuses to leave. And I think that confession she made to Angel about wanting to be good, probably be making that again on the Angel show. But anyway, Faith is going to leave Sunnydale at the end of season 3. So not before, like the last episode. Last episode, she'll be leaving. And maybe she doesn't literally leave that episode, but she's not going to be on the first episode of season 4. The end of season 3, she's out of here. She's going to leave Sunnydale. Not like get in a car and taking off necessarily, but she's going to leave. Angel will pretend to be Angelus again to be funny, because that is the most hilarious joke he could pull off at this.
Scare your friends.
Like, throw in a psych after it, or like April Fools.
I'm evil. Not.
He just did this whole bit where he said what a great actor he was and revealed his Angelus thing. I think he. Oh my gosh! How many times did he have that line in Bad Girls too? And it's like the guy's like, someone blah 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 here. Angel. He says his own name and jumps in and punches the guy. Angel just has this dramatic flair about him. He needs to pretend else again.
He says, his name is Angel.
That's right. That's right. That's such a lame red line in Bad Girls. Okay. So I think the mayor is going to ascend according to his plan. It's going to happen exactly according to plan, is what I want to say. And I think that means ascending. I think he's going to ascend to heaven. Ascend according to his plan. That's like one thing. And then I want to say the mayor will ascend to heaven. Does that make sense? Because demons would descend. Angels would ascend. So he's going to ascend to heaven. And then the third part of this. So it's like, I don't want to put all my predictions in one place. So it's like the mayor will ascend according to his plan. The mayor will ascend to heaven. The mayor will become an angel. And the mayor will be dealt with at the end of season 3. There we go. It's 4 predictions, but I don't want to like make one. Will become an angel.
What does dealt with mean?
He'll be killed. But I think he's going to become an amorphous angel character that may be unkillable. So that's why I want to say dealt with. I just think he's going to be off the show. But I don't know if he'll be killed. I don't know if he can be killed. I don't know how they're going to define death. So that's where I'm worried about saying killed. He'll be eliminated.
You're worried about us being like real sticklers for wording?
He's going to be eliminated. Well, he's an unkillable something. He's some kind of unkillable creature currently, so he can't really be killed. He'll be eliminated or evaporated or something. It's not like you just cut off his head, he'll die. He needs to he's going to change form, become another more powerful form, which might not even have the humanoid body. That's what I think. And then that's where I'm worried of saying we'll become an angel. He'll become a non-humanoid.
I mean, Mike,
I gotta stop.
Isn't this guy like a bad guy?
Angels good? Lucifer's an angel.
Are they?
All right, yeah, we'll just say angel.
I don't think angels are good.
He'll become an angel.
And again, I watch Supernatural, so.
Cool, I'm done with predictions. That's it.
Supernatural.
Thank you, everybody.
I was holding it in. Good job.
Good predictions, Mike. I'm excited about these. These will be fun to talk about later.
All right. My kill count for the evening.
The kill count.
Skylar died, so 1 on-screen demon, but an entire town was wiped off the face of the earth in the mentionings. And RIP 1 friendship. After a long protracted illness, I declare the Buffy and Faith relationship dead.
Aww.
All right, recommendations.
Recommendations.
Donnie Brasco, because I mentioned at the top. I was thinking about double cross movies. So Notorious, which is like probably my favorite Hitchcock movie, and Double Indemnity, another good betrayal movie with Barbara Stanwyck, which I might have recommended before, but I'm not sure. And then who recommended the K-drama?
Yeah, Love from Another Star. It's this K-drama where with an ancient alien living in Seoul, falls in love with an actress.
That sounds amazing.
That does sound amazing.
Yeah.
Do they almost kiss and then not?
Do they ever kiss? I don't know. There's a lot of almost kissing, but I'm not sure if they ever actually kiss.
Does anyone else have any recommendations? Nope. All right. Then that is it for the week. I have been your host, Dennis St. John. You can find my comics and everything else about me at DennisComics.com, DennisComics. I'm on Twitter at Dennis Comics. Instagram is Dennis St. Comics. Mike, where can people find you?
Sure, I'm on YouTube. I'm trying to release videos every Thursday, and that's YouTube Michael Poley. So just look for that. I'll link to it occasionally on my Twitter at Michael Poley.
All right, and then you can find Buffy everywhere. You can find Buffy Virgin though on Facebook at Buffy Virgin. YouTube, our channel is Buffy Virgin. We are on Twitter at Buffy Virgin Pod. Instagram is Buffy Virgin. So check us out, and we'll see you next week for what's next week? Earshot?
That sounds right. Yeah.
All right. Bye.